Hello from Dubai. I hope each of you are staying safe and well. I am so excited to be taking another step forward in my dreams, my hopes, and my desires. Something I've been working on for almost 10 years at this point. I'm in the process of taking the next step in my journey of sharing my unique gifts on a bigger and bigger stage. My life mission, for those of you who don't know me, is dedicated to helping people engage their inner truth, why they are here. I am committed to helping each of you to make the connection between your happiness and sharing your unique gifts with the world. The central tenet of my mission is that the freedom, happiness, safety, and security we all long for lies in our commitment to do what life has given us to do. I'm just getting started. My hope is to continue inspiring and in turn be inspired by each of you. We are all in this together, whether we acknowledge this fact or not. So thank you to all of you who have reached out with words of encouragement and support. It is greatly appreciated and it means a lot. Nothing but love and happiness from me to each of you. Now, let's turn our attention to a follow-up to my four-part series on well-being. There are two things for which I would like you to take action on after watching my four-part series on well-being. But before I get into that, there were two questions throughout the four-part series I asked you to give your attention to. The first question is, why is it that some people are more vulnerable to life's slings and arrows and others are more resilient? The second question is, how can we nurture this quality and promote more human flourishing to promote more resilience? Continue to ask these aforementioned questions every morning you wake. If you haven't watched the four-part series, you can go to my IGTV for each of them and do so. This series is a very important part of helping people to better understand how they can flourish mentally, not only helping themselves become more resilient, but building communities of resilience, as well as creating a worldwide shift to oneness and less separation. Let's talk about a couple of things you can do right now. One of the important things is to reflect on, with a sense of appreciation, on people that have done things that are helpful to you. We spend so little time intentionally appreciating what others do to help us in our life task. Appreciation, I think, is an emotion which is insufficiently appreciated. I know, it sounds like an oxymoron, right? A conundrum. But I think this could really be helpful. A second action to take is to recognize that calming our minds and opening our hearts is not just good for us, but really can be beneficial to all of those around us. So we can do very simple practices to ground us, make us calmer by bringing our awareness into our bodies and into the present moment. It's just something that requires a little bit of practice. Here's a question I've pondered, and that is, if we have a decade or two to infuse this understanding, where would we start? Well, in my observations, one is the business community. And I have been in corporate my whole life, and I've found, I can tell you, that they are more receptive in the corporate world than they are among the academic world. It would seem like it would be the other way around. The academic world would be more receptive than the corporate world. But strangely enough, that is a good thing in itself, as the corporate world benefits from practical applications that can be implemented for greater productivity and creativity among its employees and in turn, organization. I think to some extent the corporate world is appreciating the importance of collaboration and teamwork. This is something so critical in modern corporate settings. Another key reason of the business community's embrace is that they also are burdened with healthcare costs, sort of a financial issue. So I think the workplace in that sector is a really important sector. Secondly, another really important sector is healthcare directly. And there is more and more appreciation of this in terms of findings. For example, the American Heart Association came out with a consensus statement that was published in the major cardiac journal circulation, which is the journal of their association. And around 2018, this consensus statement presented the utility of contemplative practices and adjunct treatment for cardiovascular disease. So it's beginning to happen. The third thing is, I would say the third area would be education. There are a growing number of schools, such as Arizona State University, with compassionate school projects that is so central to a community and is a wonderful example of how these kinds of practices can be infused in an education system at a large scale. My 4-part series work is an invitation. The invitation extends to each of every one of you, which is we can all take more responsibility for our own brains. And as I mentioned before, one of the amazing discoveries that scientists have made is that by nurturing virtuous qualities of mind, we actually can promote positive changes in the brain. As always, I welcome your comments and insight. Let us continue to help ourselves in order to help humankind. Much love and happiness. Let's continue to commit to helping ourselves and each other flourish and become more resilient. Namaste.